If you tried to book a airline ticket lately, don't bother. The prices are scary and there's lots more unfolding, a lot of problems unfolding around the country at the moment. Hundreds of flights have been cancelled. In the past week, about 4,000 Jetstar ticket holders travelling to or from Bali have been hit by cancellations, many of them stranded. And it's about to get a whole lot worse in the lead up to the Christmas period. Ground handlers were about to strike on Monday, but that dispute has been settled with a pay rise. But Qantas in particular is facing all sorts of problems. I want to find out what's really going on. I'm joined now by New South Wales Labor Senator Tony Sheldon. He was formerly with the National Transport Workers Union. So thanks for joining us, Tony. I know you follow this closely. Look, fuel prices are up. We know that that's going to hit airlines' prices to some degree, and that's a factor that will say affects all airlines. But what on earth is going on with Qantas? People are facing cancelled flights, flights delayed, baggage going missing, and of course these incredible price increases.
Yeah, Chris, thanks and pleasure to join you and your audience today. Look, it is this rampant consequences of what Qantas management have decided about how they're going to run the company. They have. I'll just give a very short introduction to what's happened on two fronts. One is the workforce, and one is the how they've handled money that they've been spending on dividends and spending on the share buybacks. They've since 2015 to 2019 have bought a third of the shares back. So that's taken money out of a better performance of the company, capital investment that could actually take place, and investment in giving better services to the community, which we're seeing the price for now. We've seen 8,000 people laid off and made redundant during the pandemic, even though they received $2 billion of taxpayers' money to keep their operation ready and fit for purpose when it was back into the air. And in the engineering area, as we've seen places like Newcastle, where the engineering department was shut down, 80 jobs gone, and we've seen 30% of engineers thrown on the scrap heap during the pandemic. And of course, now we're seeing half the planes for Jetstar, its overseas operations, and particularly in the Bali, the effect there, where 4,000 passengers have been stranded because we haven't got the engineer facility and systems in place to make sure that we can get planes up quicker, faster, and to make sure this airline's actually working appropriately.
Look, we know they got smashed by COVID, but they obviously got rid of too many staff because there's so many people wanting to fly now and they've got the planes, whether they're in service or still in storage. They just don't have enough staff to run the airline properly. How did they come to that situation where they didn't keep enough people trained up or on standby?
Well, this is Chris, you really hit the nail on the head, because I've actually been in a few Senate inquiries and asking Qantas and other aviation players this exact same question. And they expected there to be rebound through this year, earlier last year, and earlier this year rather, and going through this year. They expected the rebound, but they didn't actually plan for it. They decided to outsource the work. And then, of course, when they outsource the work, such as baggage handlers, which they've been found to have done it illegally for 1,800 people, close to 2,000, and those workers that they've tried to bring back are getting paid $23 an hour, which is not enough in those outsourced companies to attract people to come there. Like, it's not rocket science. It's actually pretty practical. If you want an airline to run efficiently, which is important, if you want somebody to know how to deal with crises or problems or issues that happen hourly and daily in the aviation industry, you need to have people experienced who can respond. We're seeing people in these outsourced companies that are turning around and putting guns, literally firearms, onto carousels. They're taking ramps for passengers to get off planes whilst doors of the planes are still open. We're seeing people running over refuelling lines for planes with their carts because they're inexperienced. So I've got nothing against any of those workers. They're, I'm sure, good, hard-working Australians who are getting paid a pittance and leaving every day because they can't work for Qantas's supply chain and how they've managed it.
A lot of learnings, a lot of lessons to come out of the pandemic, and this is one of them. There's obvious advantages about keeping people actually in your organisation, employed directly by your organisation. Qantas would like a lot more of them now, and they just haven't got them.
Well, you're absolutely right, Chris. One of the things is with the engineers, they've to try to get things to operate quicker, they've actually decreased, for example, that when people are on long-term night shift, they're supposed to have a break of a certain amount of hours. That's in the Qantas safety playbook. They've actually now reduced that close to 25%, having that break, to make engineers safely actually looking at the work to make our planes safe.
We do have to move on, Tony. Thanks for joining us. We'll keep an eye on that issue. Tony Sheldon there from the Labor Party, Labor Senator for New South Wales, used to work in this transport area with the union. It's a worry, and they got to fix it and fix it quick. They also got to get the ABC out of their bloody lounges, I reckon, too.